Good morning, everybody. I'd like to begin today's meeting by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we are gathered and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to the City Infrastructure Committee meeting of 6 November. I declare this meeting open at 10:03am. I'd like to advise attendees in the room that this meeting is being webcast and audio recorded. At this stage, the only leave of absence I have is for the Mayor. Can I have someone move that the Mayor's... Thank you, Councillor Raven, seconded Councillor Murphy. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's been carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Declaration of conflict of interest. I now refer to declarations of conflicts of interest. Do any councillors wish to declare a new conflict against any reports on today's agenda? There being none, thank you very much. We'll move on to reports. The first report is item 5.1, Logan Water Update, November 2023. I'll ask Mr. Mike Basterfield, Group Manager of Logan Water, to please commence.
Thank you, Chair. So the report we've submitted for your consideration is a summary of the performance of the commercial business unit Logan Water for 22-23, and it sets out the strategy that we plan to follow for the current year. I have a presentation that we can go through, but I'm happy to take the report as read and take questions and refer to the presentation if you wish.
Councillor Bradley.
I'm happy to take it as read personally, but I just want to say how impressive these kilometres are. 2,459 kilometres of sewer mains and 2,464 water mains. That's pretty impressive to have that analysis. So
Thanks very much. Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to you and your team. You're always so quick to respond. They're so good with responding to residents for me when they have concerns and that sort of thing. I love the new setup at York Street and how quick they are on the phones and everything like that. So please pass that on. They're always in such a timely manner, especially when there's any potential impacts on traffic, roads or anything like that. They're always very quick to update me and stuff like that as well. So a really big thanks from me and Division 11 when they give updates. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Councillor Raven.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, Mike, on page 31 of the agenda, when my computer decides to bring it up, there is a number of water quality complaints per 1,000 properties. It's really low, which is good. You've got it about 2. I've got like 10,000 properties in my patch and I get way more than 20 complaints a year. So I'm trying to understand, and that doesn't mean they're coming to you though. So I'm trying to understand how you capture those, and do you like sweep them off of social media? Because I know your guys monitor it. Do you sweep those as complaints and then try to respond to them? Or is this just complaints that come through customer service or an email?
Through the Chair, yes, Councillor, the complaints that we register are the ones that come through the formal channel. We are aware of everything on social media to get ahead of any issue, but we don't count them specifically as complaints.
Cool. It'd be interesting though to capture that as a separate, like almost like a proactive, because you're already managing the risk that's coming through social media. It'd be good to understand what that is, because often when people think about complaints, they think about what they see on the local Facebook group, Facebook page and all that. It'd be just an interesting piece of data if we could get that in future. But it's a great report otherwise. I also saw that you do some socially responsible charity work. That was the first time I'm aware of Logan Water doing that. It'd be awesome if those, like the choices you made, either came to council as a report so we could understand the benefit that you're returning to the community, or to understand why you've strategically chosen those, and maybe so that we can provide input to it in future, so that the board is aware of the good work that you're doing and can either focus it or encourage it to go in different directions.
Sure.
Thanks.
Is that the cycle one that you're talking about, Councillor Raven?
It's under... Sorry, I didn't keep a page, Madam Chair, but it's under socially responsible.
Yep, we had, I believe
work.
there was some social media done earlier this year around some of the charitable works of Logan Water. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, Mike. I just wanted to say a big thank you. You're doing a lot of work in Division 12 presently, and I thank you for that. Your team have been great also with water leakage. A lot of the unit complexes in Mount Warren Park, which is in my division, have all been on 1 metre. and we've often had issues where there could be a concealed leak. The team has been absolutely brilliant with regards to that. And also from the educational side of things, I know some of the officers have come out with me to the local retirement villages and showed plenty of educational side of things. You've always been supportive in that realm, and I love going to the York Street. It's absolutely brilliant and has a view of Division 12, which is great. So thank you very much for your help and assistance over the last 12 months.
Councillor Bradley, another chip.
Yeah, thank you. It just triggered a thought bubble that I wanted to express, and I came across a resident who had the highest water concealed leak bill in the city, over $20,000. Anyway, they were extremely grateful with the staff, so if that could be passed on, the staff are amazing how they dealt with them.
Thanks very much. Mike, I'd also like to say that one of my set of elderly residents had a children turn tap on while they were away, and Logan Water have worked with them to better outfit their home just in case that happens again. But under the concealed leak remission, they were actually offered some relief, which was greatly accepted, particularly given their unlimited income. So thanks very much to your team. If there's no further questions, we've got a motion. Oh, pardon me, Councillor Hall.
Yes, on behalf of Division 6, I'd also like to pass on my thanks. Recently in Bethania Homeview, we had an urgent matter with a burst water mains, my understanding is, and I believe Logan Water worked around the clock and was still working around 9 p.m. when I was working in the office, and I was still getting, hour by hour feedback on how things were going, and my understanding was it was a very difficult fix. It wasn't an easy fix. So acknowledgements and thanks on behalf of my division to the team.
That's great. The motion is up on the board. Can I have a mover? Councillor Murphy, a seconder, please. Councillor Russell, all those in favour, please raise your hand. That's been carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any general business for Mr. Basterfield? I think you've pretty much all just done that. Thank you very much for your time today. Greatly appreciated. Okay, moving right along, we've got item 5.2, which is the Cornubia Quarry, current and future use update. I'll invite Mr. Stephen Bell, Road Construction and Maintenance Manager, to join the discussion, and he's joined by Mr. Andy Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the 9th of April 2022, a report was presented to Council in regards to the current and future use of Cornubia Quarry. At that meeting, Council elected to defer that Council report pending further investigations at the site. Those investigations related to the recreational aspects of what could be achieved under a staged implementation plan. Those works have now been done and they are documented in this report. So I'll take the report as read and open for Council for questions. Thank you.
Do any councillors have any questions? Councillor Stemp.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just 4 quick ones, if I could. Sorry, where am I here? So I just wanted to check. So based on the estimated annual fill, am I correct that this will mean, on average, probably only 2 trucks are likely to enter the site per day?
Through you, Madam Chair, based on what's been currently delivered to site, that is correct.
Okay, perfect. And just another question, what is clean fill and how is this monitored, and what happens if clean fill isn't delivered to the site? It's a matter of interest.
So, for the benefit of the Council, we reconstruct or rebuild a lot of roads. So the material that we take out of those roads is generally classified as clean fill. So it could be subgrade material, it could be road base that's no longer adequate. So it's that sort of material that we take to the site, as well as concrete. So if we remove curbing and that sort of stuff, that's classified as clean fill, which we generally take back to our Bega Road facility and we crush and we reuse. So it's clean material. We generally have people on site that scrutinise the material when it comes in. They know where it's actually coming from.
All right, so it's monitored when it comes in, so that we don't have. That's good. That's good to know. And upon further investigation, once further investigation is carried out to ascertain the future embellishments for the site, are Council open to filling a portion of the current site first to enable handover of an area earlier than the full site?
Through you, Madam Chair, Yes.
Perfect. And just finally, is there a timeline for the installation of a roundabout at the intersection of Gavin Way and California Creek Road as recommended in the previous consultant's report to assist with safer access by trucks to the site?
Through you, Madam Chair, no.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Do I have any other questions from the floor? There being none, there will be a motion up on the screen. Give everyone a moment to hold off on that. Everyone happy with that? I'm going to give the Divisional Councillor the option to move the motion and Councillor Bradley second it. Thank you very much. If everyone's finished reading and you'd like to vote on it now, all those in favour please raise your hand. Hang on, we've still got someone reading it, I believe. Pop your hands down for a second, sorry. Okay, all those in favour please raise your hand. That's been carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any general business for Mr. Bell? I do. Mr. Bell, your team, led by Andy, have done some amazing work over the last month and a half on looking at footpaths in my division and looking at ways to make them more friendly for people in wheelchairs, electric wheelchairs and scooters, looking at making them safer. I was provided with a list late last week of the streets that have been reviewed and some worked on with further works to happen, and I'm very appreciative of that. I've invited one of the local members or residents in my community to come on a journey with me and walk some of those footpaths to see how much they feel like they've improved, and I just wanted to express my appreciation to your team for taking my request on board and activating it as quickly as you have. I think it's brilliant and it's absolutely very much appreciated. So thank you to them. And the second thing is I noticed that you're wearing a Shady Mo today. That is in support of a charity. Would you like to give a shout out to what RCM is doing?
Thank you, Madam Chair. For those that would like to, RCM is taking up the challenge for Movember. We have a group called Logan Moways. We put out the challenge to other branches. So the challenge is to grow the best, most fashionable mow. It doesn't discriminate. Ladies can also join if you wish. we can give you a fake one. You can grow hairy legs. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But it's all about raising money for a really good cause. It's a great cause. Movember. It's about prostate cancer. It's about guys taking the initiative and going out and actually getting themselves checked. So anything that we can do to raise the profile of that is a really good thing. So if council would like to be involved, I'm happy to send out the link. You can basically log on and hopefully donate to what is a really good cause. Thank you, Madam
Thanks
Chair.
very much for your time. If there's no further general business for Mr. Bell, thank you very much for your time today. Does anyone have any general business for the Director? Oh, Tim's got one as well. Hang on a second.
I can take anything.
Director will have to take the traffic ones. Tim, what's yours?
I've just got a GB motion that the Mayor write to Brisbane City Council about Johnson Road. So the Director is working on some wording now, I believe.
Just a sec. Councillor Bannon.
Just probably a question for, there's no one there, yourself or Silvio. Do we need a motion to write a letter? Like, so if I want the Mayor to write a letter to push the state member or something else, do we need a motion for that? You can't just go up to the Mayor and say, mate, can you write me a letter and get a letter done?
What I was proposing is the motion's going up. I was going to give Councillor Fraser the opportunity to speak to the motion, and then we can decide whether or not we actually need to put it through this process.
Yeah, I've got no issue with what Councillor Fraser's doing, but I'm just wondering, we always
The
do
Mayor
the
can write a
process.
letter. I think Councillor Fraser's putting it through this process for a specific reason.
Oh.
Councillor Fraser, would you like to speak to the motion that you're proposing?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I've got residents in Hillcrest and Forestdale that have concerns about Johnson Road. It needs to be duplicated at some stage because the traffic there is horrendous at times. And just so it's out there in the public, I would like it to go through this process. I do usually not like to go through the process where it's through committee and that. I'd just prefer the Mayor to probably write a letter, but because of the scale of this issue, I guess it's good that we do it very publicly in this forum.
Thanks very much. I've got some questions from the floor. Councillor Karansky, followed by Councillor Bradley.
I'm just not quite sure. Tim, first of all, Councillor Fraser, first of all, no issue, but with the Mayor not being here today, I don't know if he would be supportive of writing a letter or not. So I would suggest that perhaps you bring it to ordinary council or perhaps have a chat with him offline, because if he was to say he wasn't supportive, that would influence my decision on what to do with respect to how I would vote. So I don't feel comfortable forcing the Mayor to write a letter that he might not support writing.
Councillor Fraser, can you see the motion just while we're going through these questions? Is the Mayor aware of this request for a letter?
He is, however, this is, I don't think he's had a chance to see the wording at all at this stage, so I would support it being deferred to the council meeting. That's fine by me.
Okay, so before we amend any motions, you're happy to defer it to council?
Yes.
So you'll raise it
definitely.
as a general business in council next week?
Yeah, all good.
Issue done. Did you have further questions, Councillor Bradley and Councillor Raven?
I was going to say the Mayor would be well and truly aware of Johnson Road, because the former Division 8 Councillor Lynn Clark used to talk about it every council meeting almost. So I'm sure the Mayor would be well and truly aware of it, and I was happy to second it, the motion.
That's great. Councillor Raven?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm happy for it to be deferred. I'd just like if the Director could give us some background information on, like, if the Mayor hypothetically writes to the Lord Mayor of Brisbane, Lord Mayor says, that's a great idea, give me money to contribute to that. Are we sort of making a rod for our own back without understanding the full implications before we ask for it? So I'd just like to understand, like, what does a long-term investigation look like? Do we have to contribute resources, costs, or anything like that? Because when we write the letter, we've pretty much got to be ready to say yes if he says yes back.
Good question. The Johnson Road is included on our major roads statement of intent. It is always listed similar to Rochdale Road, that it is a joint funded project with BCC and it requires BCC support and potential land resumption. The reason that it has not gone anywhere is that the upgrade cost for Johnson Road is extensive. It's a long section of road between Browns Plains and Carroll Park, and the cost would be extensive. The land resumption is extensive, and there is some environmental approvals. We do have it listed on our statement of intent, which means that we could contribute to an investigation project depending on what that was. If it was a planning project rather than full design, we could contribute to that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So you said a few things there that triggered me. One is resumptions. Are they on our side or their side?
I believe the majority of the land requirements would be on their side. There are sections of corridor which are already, our side is actually pretty well governed by the rural residential properties on our side, so it would generally be on their side, except up at the area, oh no, because even up at the top end, the army barracks is on one side and they wouldn't let us resume land on their side.
And so the other interesting part along there, I know it already happens to some extent, which is contributing to the issues that Councillor Fraser has identified. So if we duplicate that, why don't you just get a whole bunch of trucks that come off the Logan motorway to dodge the toll and then make it more dangerous and busy for those residents along there?
If they get off at Paradise Road, they still hit a toll. So the only way they're going to dodge the toll is if they actually get off at Browns Plains, go the whole way down. But then when you get back on, they'll probably still hit the Forest Lake toll.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure we're not sort of creating like a rat run for heavy vehicles.
Councillor Bradley.
I know Rochdale Road, which I raised in last council ordinary meeting, very similar issue and has been a very much behind the scenes. The officers have been working to try and get this resolved, but it gets to a point where it needs to be political. So hence why I support Tim, because Councillor Fraser, because it's come to a pointy end. But can I ask, please, Mr. Director, where is it listed? Because Rochdale Road's listed as 7. Where is it listed?
I couldn't tell you offhand, Councillor. I'd have to look at the statement of intent. The challenge is that this is a much longer section of road and would not be able to be done as one project. It would need to be broken up into numerous projects, and that's why the terminology that is up on that was up on that proposed recommendation is about a strategy. It's not actually about commitments of timeline budgeting, because we know full well that Brisbane City Council has political pressure, budgetary pressure, and they would not provide that information, I don't believe.
Yes, planning is important when it comes to budget measures. If there's no questions about something that we're withdrawing and not voting on today and it's going to council next week, then that's great. Does anyone else have any general business? Councillor Bradley, I believe you had a traffic matter to raise with the director?
Yeah, I really would, thank you through the chair, I would have preferred the traffic manager be here, but he's not? No. It's in relation to Cinderella Drive. I have been for over a year asking for some improvements because of the safety issues along Cinderella Drive, and numerous residents have contacted me in relation to that. I did escalate it with the manager, and the manager came to my last traffic meeting, but still nothing has happened. I'm just wondering if I do have a traffic meeting on Wednesday. If something isn't presented by then, I might have to ask for a GB item in relation to Cinderella Drive, because it's very dangerous.
Well, given they came to your last meeting and you haven't had the next meeting, it's probably a bit presumptuous to raise it here.
Yeah,
but that
I'm
being said, if you need to raise it,
I'm just foreshadowing it.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any other general business for the director? There being none, thank you very much. I declare the City Infrastructure meeting of 6 November closed at 10:25 a.m. Have a lovely day, everybody.